What's good, Darius?
What's going on, my guy? Everything good with you?
Everything good, man. Glad you're coming on today, man. I truly appreciate it.
No, I appreciate you for having me on.
Man, for those that don't know, man, you're part of Team USA Boxing. We'll be
Yes, sir.
representing the heavyweight division.
Yes,
How does that
sir.
feel, man, to have that big accolade, man?
Oh, dude, it's kind of been life changing. Like a lot of things and a lot of experience that I got to enjoy through this past year. Uh, it's kind of really molded to me for my future career going forward, especially into the pros. Um, but it's good. It's always been a dream to be an Olympian. That's everybody aspires to be. That's like one of the top. That's the pinnacle of almost every sport. And to be a part of that, man, is it's just like so rewarding, and it make my whole family proud and all the people that I come from, and I represent them. So it's a pleasure.
Yeah, I got to ask, man, before we really get started, man, how are things as far as the weather in your area right now?
Man, it's crazy. So I'm from Houston, Texas, and we're supposed to have a hurricane that's supposed to come through. But we didn't get hit with it at all. We didn't get like a drop of rain. No bad wind, no storm at all. So we got blessed. We're good over here as far as weather concerns. I know kind of like the Lake Charles area got hit pretty bad, but it kind of just missed us.
How have things been since the last hurricane that really hit Houston in a bad way? How has the
Dude,
city been during that time?
dude, when Harvey at first hit, and that was kind of I think my first kind of like big storm that I was in. But I know you probably seen the pictures. The flooding was terrible. Like I'm talking about all these different highways that are that are that are it's kind of hard to explain unless you're not from Houston, but all these highways were covered. All you see is cars floating, and a lot of homes were damaged. So we got hit pretty hard back with Harvey, and that was kind of my first wake up call, like kind of how bad Houston is with flooding, and that's what I was concerned of this time around. And I think like another flood ever since then, but I mean, Houston's still a great city, man. We never had too many problems, but that was one of the few issues that this city does have is a little flooding problem. It could sprinkle for like 30 minutes and the waters already start getting a little high.
Hey, man,
But
for everybody that know, man, tell everybody where you from and what is it like to grow up there.
well, originally I grew up in Killeen, Texas, which is Fort Hood is kind of like right in the middle of Texas. Kind of a real small town, but it's more of a military town. That's where a lot of people from the army get stationed at. So I lived there since like 2000, and I was there all the way until I graduated high school. And actually, I loved it there compared to where I'm at in Houston, because I kind of do like the small town. Um, it took me 5 minutes anywhere I wanted to go. Right, and I'm in Houston. Man, that's the first time I had to deal with traffic. I had to actually start planning out my day because it takes 30 minutes minimum to go like 3 miles away. You know what I'm saying? So it was a little bit different trying to get used to that, but it's a blessing because the opportunities that I had being out in Houston, which is the reason why I moved out here, was I wouldn't have back home in Killeen, sadly. So it was a blessing. I think that's how I got to this level, being out here in an environment like this. I had way better sparring, way better training opportunities. Um, and so, man, it's a blessing being able to make the transition out here, though, especially like I said, from the small town that I came from.
A lot of people don't know, man. Texas is a huge football state.
Yeah, yeah,
Huge
yeah,
when it
yeah,
comes to
yeah,
football. They got like stadiums for high school football and everything, man. Did you
yeah.
play football growing up?
Man, I did a little bit. So the thing with football for me is my brother. My brother's like 8 years older than me. Um, well, my only brother, talented man. Dude was a killer, man. The coldest guy that I've ever seen play. He played linebacker. He ended up went to college at TSU, and he made it to the NFL for a little while. So I've always tried to be like him in about almost every way of life. And so I was trying to follow in his footsteps as well when it came to football. But I was not as, gifted mentally and physically that he was at the time. I didn't have that. I didn't have it. I didn't have it in me at that moment when I was growing up as a kid. Like I remember being at practice, like, man, what am I doing here? Like, I just didn't have that passion, you know. That's something that I had lacked, and until I had gotten to boxing, that's when I really found myself, and I had that drive. So light switch hit for me like in my senior year when I started. That's when I started boxing, um, and I think that's what made the difference. But football is huge out in Texas, say East Texas, out here down in Houston, Dallas area. Where I kind of came from, it wasn't as big. Like we weren't dominating in state, but no, Texas is where it's at in football though for sure. It's in the water.
You know, I gotta ask,
It's
man,
in the
because
water.
you didn't pick up boxing until your senior year. How did you actually get involved with that process to say, hey, I'm going to pick up boxing in my senior year of high school?
Yeah, it was dude, I never watched boxing like a day in my life until I actually, started boxing. I can't say I was ever like a fan growing up or I always watched it growing up. It's kind of like a freak like accident for me. Like when I said the light has switched in my head was when I started wrestling. I found myself in that at first. Because I like the individual sport. I never like I obviously love the camaraderie of team sports, but I never like people placing blame, or if I felt like, yo, we lost because you didn't do this or you didn't do this. I wanted, if I lost because I lost. If I won, it's because I won. I kind of like the accountability aspect of these individual sports, and so that's what got me into wrestling. And um, after my wrestling kind of career was over in high school, I said, man, I gotta do something else. Like I had that competitive drive at that point, so I got to do something else. And originally I was gonna do MMA because I said I felt like I had that wrestling background. Like this would have been a perfect transition. But I basically started boxing. And I fell in love with it instant. I said, man, that's what I want to do. And so I kind of really just stuck with it. And um, like I said, I was in the fast track early. Like I was getting as many fights as I could. I was fighting as much as I could, and I was sparring with who like the best of the best. I was trying to be as fearless as possible. I didn't want to, uh, I wasn't one of those guys that was trying to duck and dodge anybody. I wanted to be great, man, and that's what I had to do it.
What was your experience like the first time stepping into the ring?
Oh, dude, I was scared as hell. I was scared. I mean, but and that's normal. I think we all get nervous, but I didn't let that hold me back from anything. Of course, yeah, I was scared, but I still stepped in there. I still did my thing. And but like I said, I was from a small town, so I got pretty good very quickly. I was like the best one in my city quickly. I'm talking about like within like a couple of months, and so I kind of had like, yeah, I kind of had like a little. Not say I was cocky or anything like that, but it wasn't. Obviously, as a boxer, we all get humbled at some point in time, right? It's gonna happen. You gonna go in the sparring. You're gonna get your ass kicked by somebody. Man, there's this guy from Georgetown, not too far down from where I stayed at, was beating the brakes out of me day after day after. It's still to this day, man. It's the hardest guy I've ever been punched by. And I'm not sure it's just because I was green at that point in time, but it was such a humbling experience, man. That taught me so much about myself, and that's when I knew I really wanted it. When I was taking beatings like that, and I still wanted to come back and get better and go further. I said, man, can't nobody stop me. You can stop me right now, but eventually nobody's gonna be able to stop me if I just
Was,
keep the same mentality.
was there ever a point in time that you ever wanted to quit boxing?
No, no, yeah, no, never.
When did
Thought,
you start to get noticed by Team USA?
well, I was in school. Well, I went to college. Like I said, I started late, so when I started, I was practically going into college because I started at the end of my senior year, and I missed almost like every national tournament until the trials. So I did win National Golden Gloves 2018. My schedule worked out perfectly where I was able to go. But Nationals was always in December, like the first week of December. And so I can never get away from school to go out there for a whole week to compete for it. And so I was never able to make the team for that reason. And so it wasn't I like freak of luck, man. I graduated 2019 and everything worked out and lined up perfectly for me to get my spot at the trials And so I came in at like the eighth seed, and so I kind of snuck in right at the last second to get my spot on the Olympic team. But I think I was somewhat known a little bit, but I mean nobody really knew how I was coming out because I kind of snuck in. I didn't have as much national experience as everybody else did. I think only national tournament I went to was 2016, and I lost. I think like my second fight there. I lost to the guy that had won, and that was a good experience for me. But that was besides that one, that was the only national tournament I went to. Well, USA national tournament. Like I
You
said, I
know,
went to National Golden Gloves 2018 and won that there.
how many amateur fights did you have under your belt?
I had like right now, I can give you a guess. I think I have around 60, high 50s, high 50s, low 60s.
Now, for those that don't know, you went to college. You
Yeah.
decided to go to college for nursing.
Mm.
How did that all come about?
I honestly can't even tell you. As long as what I remember, nursing was what I was going to do. I don't have any nurses in the family, but I just remember my dad bringing it up to me one day, talking about it'd be it's a good profession. It needs men. Um, it's good pay, good benefits, job security. And like I said, for as long as I know, that's what I was going to do. Even back in high school, I took, they had some LVN classes and stuff like that I had got into just to kind of see if that's what I want to do. And that's kind of really how it came about. I don't have like one of those like noble stories and stuff, but really that's kind of how it all started. I just remember that's what I was going to do. And that's kind of what I kept up with for the rest of my life. But I remember I had a real interest in kind of health and fitness. Um, I used to be like a real chunky kid back when I was growing up, and so that's kind of what when I started getting serious about my health, I started doing a little more research and learning about the human body and stuff, and so I got a little more interested in that aspect. And I remember that's what got me more into science than anything. And yeah, that's really kind of how it really started, I guess.
With that being said, when you were in school at the time, how many actual males were actually in the nursing program?
Uh, maybe like five. I said maybe like five out of like 70.
Did y'all build like a camaraderie of
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Like we're all friends to this day. Like we like best of friends. Like I stay. One of my roommate. Um, we went to school together. We graduated college together. So we're all still real cool.
yeah? What they think about you boxing?
Well, oh man, it's important 100%. I told everybody at school that I was boxing, and I told them about me going to the Olympics as well too. I made it known like this is what I was gonna do. It's my passion, and I was gonna make it happen. So they knew from the jump, man. They support me 100%.
Now, in the beginning of this year, we started to really hear about the coronavirus, COVID-19.
Yeah.
By you being in the nursing field, when did you first get wind of the coronavirus and COVID-19?
Um, I remember. I want to say we were actually overseas at the time. I thought when I first heard about it, I think we had a tournament in Bulgaria, and I remember I heard the first case come out, but I didn't think much of it. I never thought it would ever get to this scale that it's at right now. Um, and I thought it was gonna blow over. It was just something that the media was talking about. Never thought it would get this far.
Being on the front line of something like that, a lot of people say, it's not the virus, not real, is this and that. Talk to my audience about someone like you who is on the front line and see things like this.
Well, one I would say is I don't know how people say it's not real. I don't even know what that means. Maybe they can exaggerate the numbers, maybe. I can see that being possible, especially when they have people writing the death certificates. I think I honestly probably do believe that no matter how somebody died, they didn't have to die of COVID. If they had COVID in their system, that they were going to rule it as a COVID death. So maybe the numbers exaggerated, but I don't know how they can say that it wasn't real. You know, especially because I'm pretty sure. Now, me personally, I haven't had an experience with it. And I haven't had any family members or loved ones or close friends that had an experience with it. But this is very real, though.
You know, I totally agree with you with that. You know, being a mortician.
Yeah, you talked about that. I'm pretty sure you
Yeah,
probably
so
understand.
I agree with you about the number situation. But on the whole, we saw an increase in volume in our funeral home.
Hmm.
So either way, people were dying regardless if it was
Yeah.
COVID-19 or something.
Hmm.
So the numbers were increasing. So I can like you said, some of the numbers as far as the death certificates can
Yeah.
be like that. But overall, we know it's something out there that's real, very real.
Yeah, yeah. It's got to be. People ain't just dying for nothing, you know. And I think we're just taking the proper precaution because it's new. It's a what's the word that they want to call it, a novel coronavirus, is meaning it's new. We don't have any experience with it. Normally, how our immune system fights off is we build up antibodies that we've had from previous contact with certain bacteria or viruses, but we have none with it. So it's always they want to take the extra precaution with it, which is cool. But like I said, I never expected it to be on this level, you know. And I honestly don't really know what's going on with other countries overseas too, because I seen stuff where I seen some in Australia. I think Jeff Horn fought recently and stuff, and they had a whole stadium packed. You know how now, we don't have any fans at any the basketball games or any of the boxing events. So I'm curious to know what's going on in other countries overseas. And, actually, we're supposed to be going overseas pretty soon to go train and fight again in the coming months.
You know, that was going to be my next question to ask you about that. Has the travel been restricted to Americans going overseas because of how our numbers are so high here in the States?
Yeah, it has because we were trying to get some camps set up where we're supposed to. Actually, we're supposed to have multi-nation camps where we're supposed to bring countries over, but no country kind of wants to come to America right now, and vice versa, where we're trying to instead of them coming over here for us to go over there, but we kind of had some restrictions in that aspect of going to certain countries, or we would have to stay there and be on quarantine for a certain period of time. So yes, but we finally made it work. So actually, we're going to Germany next month. We'll have a training camp over there and go compete in Cologne Cup, and then go to France following that, and then have a tournament over there.
Now, will one of the requirements that you have going over there, will you have to take the
Yeah,
coronavirus test?
I'm almost positive. Even when we go to camp to go train, we got to take the COVID test. But I don't know how it's going to be set up over there. I don't know what their rules are, but I'm almost positive that we will have to, and we have to stay inside the bubble
Now,
to
have
make
you
sure we
had the
don't.
test yet?
Yeah, no, but now we did a different test. You probably talking about the one where they go
Yeah,
they go
yeah. I was
tickle
gonna.
they go tickle your brain. No, we don't. When we go to camp, we never taken that test. We always just spit in a little tube.
So why do you think they do the other test? Because you know I had the
You
other
know,
test done,
I don't know.
but they
I
had to
don't know.
go up
I
overnight.
honestly. So this is obviously something that I never learned about in school. This is obviously something completely new. So I honestly do not know the reason um, for the different types of tests that they make us take. You know, I know we've taken some antibody tests to see if we had previous exposure to it, um, which I think everybody on the team uh, hasn't had any previous exposure to it. But um, I can't tell you the difference between the nasal swab test and the spit tube test. Once I get gold, man, then it's time to go pro after that.
What's some of the things that you're working on currently to prepare for the Olympics?
Oh man, so a lot of stuff is output and range and distance control. I think a lot of stuff I'm working on right now is with my footwork. So I've been working on just kind of taking smaller angles, um, and then like I said, picking up my output because I think that's important. We have a shorter amount of time to fight compared to the pros, so I need to be able to pick it up because I have more of a pro style fight than a amateur style fighter. So I think that's one of the main things that I think will help me going into the competition overseas.
You know, with that being said, who's someone that you really have your eye on right now as far as competition wise at the top amateur at the heavyweight division that like, oh, okay, I need to work on this to prepare to get ready for him?
I seen I think somebody that has a difficult style, I guess for me would be the Cuban, kind of how he fights. Style wise, it'd probably be more difficult for me. But I think my style is pretty adaptable where I can once I get in the ring with you, I think I can figure out and I can make the adjustments that I need to take control of the fight.
Now, a lot of the young athletes, man, are deciding to not go that route and turn pro at this time. What are your thoughts about that?
I had no problem. I know everybody on the Olympic team is um, right now at this point, sticking to stay amateur for the Olympics. Um, but shoot, that's their career. People do what they want to do. If they feel like they're ready to take the step and go pro, and they got the right people backing them, then they can. Hey, more power to them. Take control of their career.
With a short window of that you had in the sport, who are some of the people that you look to as far as inspiration or study in the sport?
Okay, well, most people I'm probably going to name are people that I'm close with because I know they have more of an impact with me than a lot of people do that are running the game right now. Does it make any sense? So
Yeah,
there's a guy, one of my two close friends, Marcus Taylor. Uh, he played a big role in me. Like his mentality is something crazy. Like he's been fighting since he was like 7 years old. But kind of just how he thinks and his boxing IQ is so high. Uh, he fights at welterweight, so he's a smaller guy. But I've always looked up to him. And my other friend, Austin Williams, real close friend with him, and he we kind of had like the same kind of career path. He started late too as well, but he's dominating the pros right now. He's doing his thing. So those kind of really two people I look up to, and I think if I want to say who my favorite fighter is, probably Andre Ward. Uh, man, that dude's something special, man. I'm talking about inside the ring and outside the ring.
man, he has a wealth
Dude,
of knowledge.
dude,
The sport of
dude,
boxing.
do you just listen to him talk? Like just kind of hearing him talk and how he talks about boxing, man, it's impressive. So I'm a huge fan of him.
Have you ever had a chance to meet him?
No, we had one time, USA Boxing that set up. We did like a video. We did like a little video call, conference call with all the Olympic athletes and him. He was kind of like the little guest speaker to talk to us when COVID had hit. Kind of gave us some motivational words and stuff to make sure that we stay focused. Um, but in person, no, I've not had a chance to meet him in person.
What's your thoughts on what you see at the heavyweight division right now?
Wait, say that one more time.
What's your thoughts on what you see at the heavyweight division at this time?
You're talking about
Uh,
for me and the amateurs. You're talking about the
no,
pros.
in the pros.
Oh, okay, so you're talking
Just
about
taking a look at the
you talking
landscape
about you
of the
talking about
heavyweight
you
division.
talking about Deontay Wilder and Tyson Fury
Correct,
and all of
correct.
them.
Yes.
It's always been interesting, man, uh to see now they say heavyweight kind of division is kind of coming back. Boxing always they said it's kind of died off, but now we have some American heavyweights with Deontay Wilder. Um, and there's some upcoming heavyweights as well too that are coming up, and I'm excited to see how things are going to kind of unfold. Uh, we've seen Tyson Fury kind of dominate Wilder in the last fight. I'm kind of really excited for the rematch, man, to see if Wilder makes some adjustments and makes some switches because compared to the last two fights, it's kind of hard to see it.
How do you
But
see the part three going?
I want to be with my guy Wilder, but it's hard for me to see it changing because I think Tyson Fury handled it the first two fights. Only thing with Wilder is Wilder has that power to that game changer where he can end it at any moment. Like when him and Luis Ortiz fought, like I thought Ortiz was winning the entire fight all the way up to like the 11th round. I think it was the 11th round. It was near the end of the fight.
Yeah, because that's the one thing with Wilder.
Yeah, and
All he needed is 12 seconds.
yeah, it was in both fights. Man thought Ortiz was doing his thing. Bop, fight's over, just like that. Blink of an eye. So that's one thing about Wilder's kind of hard to bet against him because you just never know. Okay, appreciate you. It was in the 10th round. I knew somewhere in the later
Definitely
round.
had different.
I
Yeah.
couldn't remember, but man, I was impressed with Fury though. Like especially in the first fight, man. Fury really impressed me after the 12th round when he had got knocked down. Dude looked like he was dead, man. He literally rose from the dead, got back up, and kind of controlled the round after that. And I was like, man, that was one of the most impressive things I've ever seen, especially with Deontay Wilder's kind of what he's known for. If I honestly, personally, if I was the ref, knowing that Deontay Wilder has that reputation, as soon as he felt like that, man, I probably would have stopped him. I'm so glad he didn't. So glad he didn't, because I was there. I said, man, that's it. And he got up and controlled the fight, man. That was impressive.
I gotta ask, man, what's life after boxing for you? Knowing that you do have that college degree.
Yeah.
So what is life after boxing for you?
Well, that's always been a thing. Kind of why I make sure I focus on my degree, make sure I had a career outside of boxing. Make sure that I always had something that I can always fall back on when boxing's over for me. When it's time for me to hang up the gloves, and I may plan. I haven't. I don't know yet because my sole focus is on boxing at the moment. But I do think maybe of going back to school, maybe get my master's degree. Um, Not too sure yet though. I'm gonna have to play that one by ear and how things are going. Times is changing. You know, 2020 was a rough year for all of us. Who knows what the future has in store for us? So, I'm gonna kind of see and play it by ear and make those adjustments then. But I think I'm probably gonna go back to school.
What do you plan on getting your master's degree in?
Well, I'd still be in nursing, but I mean, I could get in to be a nurse practitioner or something like that, or I can go back for the long run, which I'll need some more experience too to get my CRNA and be a nurse anesthetist. But it's still on. I don't know yet. I'm still kind of playing it by ear.
Speaking of 2020, man, and the things that we've seen so far, as far as like the pandemic, what are your thoughts on what you see like on TV now with the police brutality and the things of that nature?
Oh, you want my comments on it, man? This dude, I get frustrated every time I see it. And I had to get off Facebook for a little while because all the comments and posts that I seen was just driving me insane, man. Like there's so many ignorant comments and posts back to back to back. My heart's out for all the people that are suffering with that. And you understand, I'm black and white, and I never personally, because when I was growing up, remember I was from a military town. I really personally never experienced racism like that. Obviously, I never experienced it in the home, right? My parents, I'm biracial. But where I grew up at, there was like no minorities like that. There was statistically, I never knew about it, you know. Uh, so I rarely seen it growing up, and now I have so much more awareness of it now, and it's kind of eye opening for me. But trust me, look, the main things that's irritating me is I'm seeing comments where people are saying, "I just don't get it. Why don't? It's not that hard just to comply." Like obviously, okay, personally, obviously, yeah, we just comply. But we've seen many times of people complying and they still get gunned down or they still get a knee on the back of their neck. It's not just as simple as just complying. And even in the video with Jacob, man, like there's three cops there, and you're telling me that they couldn't subdue him at all, that they had to resort to that. He didn't have to get killed. I don't care what their background is, what it says about him, what is if he had a warrant. That don't matter to me. And it shouldn't matter to anybody because that doesn't give them the right to be the executioner. You know what I'm saying? So it's frustrating. Um, and I was happy. I was happy with the NBA. I like what they did too. Um, where they kind of stayed in protest and didn't play. A lot of people are talking bad about them for that as well. Like, oh yeah, great. What is all just trying to figure it out and do what we can to get justice. You know, but nobody seems to realize that Black lives do matter. I don't get it.
You know,
I don't know what can be done, man. But there's got to be something.
Interesting. Like you said, growing up in a household that's mixed, man. What's the conversations like when stuff like that is seen on television?
Yeah, and you had to understand too, like my dad is very, very pro-black. My dad's white, by the way. My dad's a white one. Very pro-black. He grew up. He went to all black school. He went to FAMU. He went to HBCUs. Everybody that I know from his past, they're all black, right? He's very pro-black. And I remember the first time that I remember really hearing about stuff. I think I was in high school at the time. It was with Trayvon Morton, and we had a gas station right down the street from the house. And I remember we used to always, when I had friends over, we walk to the gas station, even late at night to go get some snacks or something on the weekend or whatever. After the incident happened, man, I remember my parents were like terrified. They didn't even want me going to the gas station no more. They didn't think it was safe because they never knew what could happen. And that was the first kind of like wake up for me. Like, man, like why are they tripping? Like that was kind of what I was thinking. Like, why are they tripping? Man, I'm just going to the gas station. But they honestly was fearing for our safety. You know, I just mind my friends as well too. And we talk about it, man, and it's just scary, And like I said, my dad's with it. He's not like Trey. I know he's white, but he stands with us all.
What's the best advice that you've gotten from your dad?
Oh, dude, I got man. There's too many. There's some that always there's dude. That dude's a wise man, but there's something that always sticks to my head. He always said was and I don't think it's really related to racial or anything like that. But I remember him always telling me. He said, "We're all gonna make mistakes in life." He said, "But just don't make the mistakes that you can't recover from." Basically, just saying we're all human. We're all gonna make mistakes, but there's certain mistakes that you just can't make. You know, certain mistakes that'll ruin your life forever. Um, and he said, "But you gonna live and you learn." And that's something that I always remember him used to say when I was growing up. That's the first thing that came to my head when he had just asked me what some advice that he told me.
What does your mom think about you fighting?
Oh, dude. I mean, obviously at first it was a it was a big concern, because I'm the baby of the family, so I'm her baby boy, and um, I'm trying to put in best words kind of how she feels, because I feel like it's kind of changed a little bit over time. Like I said, I got to the point where I am now, and they all support me 100%, and they do anything they can to support their baby boy, but uh. I know she still get nervous, but I think she's changed now. You got to hear her in the corner, man. I hear her over my coach. you know, Come on. She don't know nothing about boxing, but she is screaming her tail off. Throw the jab, body, body. I hear, it, man. It's the most beautiful thing ever, man. I love it every time I hear it. She gonna support me. She gonna ride or die for real. She gonna support me to the end, and I just love that about her.
Oh
That's the
wow.
biggest thing. But I think she's kind of, I think, and I can't speak for her, I think she's gotten over the kind of the fear aspect of me getting hurt and stuff in the ring. I think she sees how much I enjoy it and how much I love this. And I think she's just enjoying the ride and just the experience that we're going through together.
It's interesting that you talk about that because has that was that a concern for like, for example, last year when you heard about the 4 deaths involved with the sport of boxing?
Dude, that was like back to back too. Like, I mean, it was
Yeah.
coming. I'm trying to think. I think I may have kept quiet to her about that. She doesn't really keep up boxing unless it's with me. Unless it's with me, I think I don't know how much I don't know how much she knows about that. But but if she does, yeah, I'm gonna say she doesn't know about it.
Now I got to ask, man, has any other promotional companies out there started ringing at your door?
Well, I know I've been in touch with some managers and stuff, and I'm not gonna name and stuff because I don't know which route I'm gonna go and stuff. But I have been in talk with some managers and stuff that have tried to open the door with me with some promoters. Um, I know there's some interest with some promoters. I don't know which route that I'll go with, obviously yet, because we haven't sat down and talked. Um, official business at the moment. You know, I always said I never liked talking business about the pros. Right now, at this moment, I always try to cut some conversations short because,
because of your focus.
dude, what? Dude, I started getting so distracted, man. Like, as soon as I start thinking about the pros, my mind shifts completely in the other direction. And I'm like, man, you know, man, if I go pro, then I need to think about doing it. So my mind it gets completely goes the other direction than what it needs to be on. So I try to make sure I just keep my attention fully on the Olympics because that'll handle everything. You know, you get a gold medal and really your future in boxing is kind of secured, especially in American. We haven't had a gold medalist since 2004 and Andre Ward.
Correct, man. That
So,
would be actually life changing for you, man. Can you
dude,
imagine that getting the gold
like I said, and had well,
and heavyweight?
at least we haven't had a male gold medalist. You know, we had female with Carissa Shields, but yeah, we haven't had a male gold medalist since 2004, man. So, man, it'd be a life changing experience for not me, but for my family as well.
Man, the money will be rolling in at that point.
Right? be a millionaire before you even sign a pro contract for real.
Okay, signature question right here, man. What's one of the
Oh
toughest
man.
things that you've been through in your road and your journey of to become a professional, and how did you overcome it?
All right, so you said what's the toughest thing that I've been through in my journey so far? I think I'm gonna have to get the cliche answer, man, and it was really just trying to manage, you know, my school life and boxing. That's always been the most challenging thing for me. Because like I said, I missed out on so many opportunities to be great. I couldn't go to all these tournaments. I couldn't go to all these fights. I missed out on so many opportunities to be noticed, to be seen, and to get the experience needed for my growth as a fighter. Um, you know, luckily I made things work as of now, but I think it would have been a lot easier path if I was if I was able to put my whole time into boxing throughout all these years. You know, so I missed out on a lot throughout this journey, and I think that was the hardest thing, man. And you got to understand too, nursing school. Nursing school is a pain in the ass. That thing is tough.
It's a
That thing is
grind,
tough,
grind,
man.
especially the anatomy alone.
Dude, no, seriously, yeah. And the thing that I had to sit through that. I had to do my clinical rotations. I was at school most of the day, and I had to study. So I had a lot of early mornings and late nights going through this journey, man. But you
A lot of
know,
people don't know, man. You learn just as much as a doctor.
no, seriously, no, seriously. But we're just not in school as long as they are. But no, you had a good point. Like we got to learn all the meds just as much as they do.
Now,
Pharmacy is probably the hardest class I took. That thing was seriously so much memorization. You know, you had to learn all the class of drugs and learn all the drugs in that class. Man.
I gotta ask, man. Was there any type of were you looked at differently because you wasn't at the time wholeheartedly into the sport of boxing? That for the ones that the purists in the sport, they looked at you in a certain way, or no?
Um, Not if they did, I didn't know about it. You know, I sometimes really care how people view me because I'm a be who I am genuinely. And but I mean, I guess people could say like they were never a fan of me having a plan B. I've heard plenty of people say, "Oh, you don't need a plan B. Your plan A should work. Your plan A should go through. If you focus on your plan A, make plan A happen. You don't need a plan B. If you have a plan B, then you're just setting yourself up for your plan A to fail." And I think that was the most dumbest thing that I heard, you know, because it only had to be that I'm not talented enough to make it to the big leagues in boxing. It can be something as simple as just an accident. Something as simple enough. Anything could be a blimp on my and ruin my career. You know what I'm saying? Because it's a physical sport. My mind's always going to stay intact. You know, I have to set up my career outside of boxing. That's literally the smartest, safest thing to do. And it doesn't mean that I don't put all I can into boxing. Once I finish, dude, trust me. Once I finished and graduated and I passed my NCLEX and I got my license, I put literally 100% of me into boxing. I haven't looked back. You know, I haven't I haven't been worried about because I know nursing is going to be there for me always. I did what I needed to do. So I always hated when people would talk about it like that, like, oh well, you have a plan B, so your plan B is this and that. No, it's not like that, man. But trust me, I'm putting everything I got into the sport.
You know,
Like I
that's a
said,
that's a
hey,
great point. That's a
people
great point.
people have died in this, man. Why would I can't half-ass it. I'm just going to end up hurting myself.
You know,
So,
for that young kid who says that I don't have a plan B, man. Talk about the importance of having a plan B, because like you said, anything can happen in the sport, and to have something where you have a college degree that you
mm,
can fall back on.
yeah. And listen, I'm not saying college is the answer. I'm not saying
Correct.
that the college is definitely not for everybody. It's definitely not. But you need to have something else. You still need to have another plan, a trade, something that you can do outside of boxing. Because even as you're coming up through boxing, I mean, you we're not making much money right now until you make it to the top level. You're not making much money at all. This is not something really to survive off of long term. You're not gonna be able to have uh, any sort of retirement, especially unless you make it to the top level. So I think it is important. That's a small percentage of people that can do that. Um, so for these kids that are coming up in boxing, man, don't let boxing be your only thing. Be multifaceted. You got to have other avenues that you can make money from and have income from, because you got to provide for your family and for yourself. And doing just boxing, man, it's a high risk. It's a high risk. So just make sure for these kids that are coming up that you can do it another way.
You know, by starting late in the sport of boxing, do you now go back and study the old fighters and
Yeah,
make
I had
old
to.
fights?
I had to. I absolutely had to, because I was, like I said, I was late into it, and so I had to do a lot of catching up. So first thing I had to do was catching up with the now. So I started. Luckily, PBC started getting big, and so there's a lot of fights on that was on free cable for me to watch. Because from what I remember, it was always on HBO, Showtime, and in the house we didn't have that, so I didn't have access to watch any fights. So I had first started watching, catching up with what was going on now. And then obviously when I started boxing, started talking to people and getting an idea of what was going on in the past. Obviously I wasn't around then, so I don't know any of the hypes building up. I don't know who was good or not. Only thing I knew was when I used to play Fight Night. All the fighters on there I knew. So I obviously knew the Roy Jones. I knew the Mike Tyson, Muhammad Ali, the Sugar Ray Leonards. I knew all of them. But so I just needed a little help, a little guidance on who to watch and who to study off of. But yeah, I had to go back and watch some of the greats, because obviously that's where people fight now have learned from.
You know, speaking of that fight hype, I mean, and fight night. All right, fun game for you. We gonna put together the perfect boxer. We're gonna start with
Oh man, okay.
ring IQ.
Who's got the best ring IQ? Who's got the best? I feel like I got to give another cliche answer. Let me think about it before I say it. Yeah, I feel like I have no choice but to say it. All right, I gotta say Floyd Mayweather.
Floyd Mayweather.
What's the next one?
All right, speed.
All right, I'm leaning Roy Jones right now.
Going with Roy.
Yeah, I'm leaning Roy. Yeah, I'm going
Power.
Roy.
Power.
Um, Looking at heavyweight, so I'm thinking out of either Deontay Wilder, Mike Tyson. Yeah, I'll just go Deontay Wilder.
Wilder with that jab.
I'm gonna have to go with Larry Holmes.
Larry Holmes with the jab. Yeah,
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 that Larry Holmes jab was so nasty, man.
defense.
Um, Obvious answer, everybody says Pernell Whitaker. Let me try to think of somebody else who I think had good defense. don't want to go with James Toney either. I'm trying to think of some other answers instead of the cliche ones, but it's hard not to go with cliche ones because they're cliche for a reason. All right, I'm gonna stick with Pernell Whitaker.
Canal. All right, last one. Footwork.
I'm gonna go Sugar Ray. Yeah, I'm gonna go Sugar Ray Leonard. I like Sugar Ray Leonard so much, man. And to add some more stuff into it, tenacity, I'm going with Evander Holyfield. That dude, Evander Holyfield, is a monster, man. I love almost all his fights. I like his fights with Riddick Bowe. I lost someone, man, but that dude's a warrior, though. Chin, if I had to go with Chin, I gotta go. I think the other cliche answer was Triple G. Do you know who else had a chin? Was what's his name? I almost said Margaret, not Margaret. Have you seen the fight when it was Sugar Shane Mosley? Oh, Mayorga.
Well, okay.
Yeah, and and he would do this dumb thing in the middle of the fight where he would just stick his chin out like that, and then just bop bop bop. Come on, come on. I want to go. I'm gonna go with Triple G though, but Mayorga, that dude's insane. If I go with somebody that's the most insane, I'll probably go with him. He was doing the most wildest stuff, smoking cigarettes. He would probably get drunk the night before.
You know,
So
if you
yeah,
had
so Chin, I would go with Triple G. I seen Triple G take some of Canelo's shots and go boom, and then just keep coming.
a chance to get trained by a heavyweight, who would it be?
Heavyweight, any heavyweight all time or
All
current?
time? Yeah, any heavyweight all time.
Uh, my favorite heavyweight all time. Let me think. Mm, Give me a second. My bad. I'm taking so long. Cliche answer. Cliche answer is telling me to say Muhammad Ali. Trying to think of somebody else. Yeah, I'm gonna stick with my cliche. I'm gonna just go Muhammad Ali.
You know, before we wrap things up, man, first of all, I just want to say thank you, man, for coming on the ropes, Instagram Live. I truly appreciate it, man.
Nah, I appreciate you having me on.
And what would be the one thing people would be surprised to know about you?
Uh, Let me think. I think if I had to just give a quick answer, man, I'm a huge anime guy. I love watching anime. That's my stuff. I don't know how I got into it, but I watch anime so much, it's ridiculous. So if I had to say, and that's why I think, man, this Olympics is perfect in Tokyo. Man, I was dreaming of going to Tokyo. Like I want to go to Tokyo just to go to Tokyo anyway. But dude, they had Goku. Goku was supposed to be the ambassador for the Olympics, so a lot of the memorabilia and stuff was going to be Goku related, and that was my childhood was Dragon Ball Z. So man, I thought it was perfect, man. So I guess if some people don't know about me, I guess it would be that.
Man, once again, man, I
Man,
truly appreciate your time coming on the ropes today, giving a little insight on you and your background. And good luck on your future endeavors, man.
I
Bring home the gold, man.
absolutely, man. I appreciate you for having me. Thank you. I appreciate it.
All right.
All right.
Once again, I want to thank everyone for tuning in to On the Ropes Instagram Live. My special guest, Darius Fulghum, talked about numerous topics, including the COVID-19, the climate of what we see in America today. Great head on the shoulders, and I truly appreciate it for everyone tuning in. And about less than 17 minutes, get ready. Keyshawn Davis will be in the house. We get a chance to chop it up with him on the ropes. I'm out.